Shalom, la bachayayim shal yashala. Peace be to the elect of the nation of Israel, which the elect of the nation of Israel consists of the 144,000 Nabayayim, the prophets, which are all men, and of course, the rest of the innumerable multitude of the 1/3, men, women, and children, which will believe in the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, which the prophets shall speak, ministering unto them unto salvation. To you I say Shalom. Of course, to you, which also I must note, the elect, the nationality of them are all so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And of course, since our seed has been scattered abroad across the four winds, some of our people may look like the heathen, but if their lineage, by the way of the Spirit, go back to a so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, they are Israelites. To you I say Shalom, meaning peace to you. Wa kahalayim la alahayina wa Yahweh bahashem Yahushai bahashem kakodash. All praises to our power, which is Yahweh, the name of the Heavenly Father, the Almighty, and His only begotten Son's name is Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Bahashem, meaning in the name, Recha, meaning Spirit, Kodash is holy, which I utter in the Paleo Hebrew, the language that has been returned back unto us Hebrew Israelites, which was a fulfillment of biblical prophecy. We have, of course, Za'amath, is truth, and we have our heritage back, the understanding, the wisdom of the book, which is ours, the Bible, in its entirety. Of course, I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles, that great millstone, who well, Shinikabala, Shalayachim, now was a Konim, now was Shal Yasha'ala. Of course, be saying double honors to our apostles and our elders of Israel, which are a great millstone, God Walla Rakab, Ba'aith, a great millstone in these times. Shemya Amafpa, my name's Amafpa, Mayan, meaning from the great millstone, God Walla Rakab, Machana, great millstone camp, Philadelphia camp, Plain Tables camp, located here, Baha Ayar, in the city, Shaw, Philadelphia, of Philadelphia, coming again with another Lamadium, Ma'it, which is a teaching, a little teaching, due to Rechak Kodash, which is the Holy Spirit, Ma'amath, of truth, which this is an update going on, of course, into the nuclear arsenals of these weaker nations being built up, Hagawayam, which they're being built up in array, being mustered to the battle to, of course, bring forth Abad, which is a destruction, La Babal, to Babylon, which is America. It says North Korea. This is off of Janes.com. This was published on September the 11th, 2019, and it reads here: North Korea releases images of September 10 weapons tests. It says here, North Korea test fire a super large MRL system on September the 10th. Images released by North Korea, which North Korea, they go back to the nation of Moab, or Moab in the Hebrew. Moab, which means of his father in the Hebrew. And of course, you know, if you go back to the history, this particular nation is one of Lot's daughters. It came out of, okay, Lot daughter ended up just he had two daughters, and they slept with him, in which that brought a bit the offspring of Moab and Ammon. All right, so it says here, images released by North Korea, state-run media, show the weapon system country tested on September the 10th was the same super large multiple rocket launcher MRL that was tested on August the 24th, which I reported on that too. Other Achim within our other brothers within Great Millstone, being watchmen unto the whole house of Israel, we report it on this as well. they of course had another missile test. It says here, and that isn't that long ago. It's currently the 11th of September, and this was August the 24th, at the latter end of August, and you have it just a couple weeks after they're testing again. It says Pyongyang Korean Central News Agency, or KCNA, reported on September 11th that the test firing which was overseen by North Korea leader Kim Jong-un, served as an occasion to clearly decide the next orientation to complete the weapon system. The state-run KCNA, which confirmed that the two projectiles were test launched the day, quoted Kim saying that the latest test finally verify aspects related to weapon systems, combat operation, trajectory characteristics, accuracy, and precise homing functions. Added that what remains to be done is to carry out a test which is most vivid character in terms of the power of a multiple rocket launcher. The KCNA provided no further details about the weapon system or the test launch. The report came a day after South Korea Joint Chief of Staff said that Pyongyang has fired two unidentified short-range projectiles in an easterly direction at 06:53 hours and 07:12 hours local time from the area of the North Korea's western city of Kaechong, South Pyongyang province. The projectiles flew about 330 kilometers and reached an altitude of 50 to 60 kilometers, said the JCS, who didn't confirm whether the weapons flew into the East Sea of Japan, or the Sea of Japan. That's basically that article. I will go back to another article which I have off of Reuters, which provides a bit of more information. So it says here that, I'm going to read from here. It says North Korea fired a new round of short-range projectiles on Tuesday. South Korea officials said only hours after it signaled new willingness to resume stalled denuclearization talks with the United States in late September. So they of course did a test of a short-range projectile, but you have it that they also have notified the U.S. that they have a new willingness to, of course, denuclearize. But this, if you kind of understand, is nothing but a act of being very clever by the ways of North Korea, because they are carrying out their various tests, and of course the United States isn't doing anything about it. And then of course by the time when it is ready, which they may be already ready, of course the Lord controls the timeline with all the kings and what of course their actions be. You have it that these missiles, alright, they will be ready in a time for World War III, and it's just them buying time, because the Lord of course is mustering the host of the battle, and he's letting these weaker nations possess nuclear capability, which is biblical prophecy. It says Kim, who had guided the testing of the same multiple rocket launcher before, said its capabilities has been finally, which I already covered. So it says Kim ordered future tasks the ways to steadily attain cutting-edge national defense to officials that joined him, including the senior officials of his sister Kim Yo-jong. KCNA said, while analysts said North Korea conducts weapon tests for a range of purposes, including the technical development, reassurance of defense establishment. Tuesday's launch appeared to have been timed to send a message to Washington, being the Babylon, the Edom, the wicked, which our second says, which means, such as what may happen if the United States doesn't come to talks with North Korea with realistic proposals, right? And isn't it, of course, realistic for them to denuclearize? Right now, them having the nuclear capability is their only line of defense, which has been keeping the United States from invading them. Reading on, it says, although U.S. President Donald Trump has played down previous tests this year, saying he didn't believe short-range missiles violated any agreements, now oust for national security, John Bolton, and said that, so of course we know that John Bolton was that national security advisor. He was fired due to, of course, his actual beliefs didn't, of course, come in line with what Trump actually, his actual agenda, you can say. We can, of course, carry that in a new lesson, but we'll go on. It says here that John Bolton even says short-range launches by North Korea are banned under UN resolutions, but they can't do anything. So, of course, John Bolton, as they call him, warmonger, of course, he's been putting a lot of heat on these other nations, but as you see, Trump doubling back on these other nations, giving them time and such, to do whatever agenda they want, which ultimately, as you see, it's all the Lord's doing. So we also have this article. It says Iran will be a full nuclear power by the end of 2020. Report. It says French President Emmanuel Macron failed to promote successfully his Iranian initiative with the U.S. administration, despite the initial blessing of his U.S. counterpart. This failure led Iran to make a third gradual withdrawal from the JCPOA, which is the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action nuclear deal commitment, raising two main issues. Now, it's of course, bring out edification so that people know exactly what we're talking about. This deal, which was it's known as the nuclear deal, Iran nuclear deal. It's an actual agreement that was, of course, between Iran, the P5, which also plus one, together with the European Union. All right, and you go more into it, and let me see if I can go into it. It was more so an agreement to, in hopes to keep Iran from becoming a nuclear power and such. Okay, I'm gonna bring up another tab. Different restrictive measures and such. So it says here, you have the 5 permanent members, which was United Nations. Well, you have China, France, Russia, UK, United States. United States pulled out, plus Germany, together with the European Union. You have it that you have some of these are NATO and EU nations. Germany being an EU and NATO nation. UK, US pulled out. China, France, and Russia aren't in NATO and the EU. says formal negotiations towards the. Or actually, let me just get to the point. Slack here. It says here, under the JCPOA, Iran agreed to eliminate its stockpile of enriched uranium, of medium enriched uranium. It says and cut his stockpile of low enriched uranium by 98% and reduce about 2/3 of his gas centrifuges for 13 years. For the next 15 years, Iran will only enrich uranium up to 3.67%. Iran has agreed not to build any new heavy water facilities at the same period of time. So as you see, they have different limitations, which ultimately restrict them basically from becoming a nuclear power. Alright? Which, when you go into it, of course, when the United States, has an issue with a country, they put all these different pressures upon them because there's all these sorts of sanctions that have been placed upon them. It says here, I'm going to go into it. It says here, on May 18th, Trump announced U.S. withdrawal from the JCPOA. Following the U.S. withdrawal, the EU enacted an updated blocking statute on 7th of August to nullify U.S. sanctions on the country's trading with Iran. And you had, of course, there were various exemptions with various nations. Now, of course, anybody doing any trading with Iran, they would be, of course, in, I believe, a actual possibility for them to be penalties, basically. You go into it. But other nations are starting to, of course, find other ways to do it. It says in November 2018, U.S. sanctions came back into effect and because they had different exemptions that was on at the time, intended to force Iran to dramatically alter its policies, including its support to militant groups in the region and its development of ballistic missiles. And then you, of course, had all these various different events, drones being shot down and various accusations, tankers being seized, and you have the U.S. with their plan to invade Iran. But you have it where, as the prophecy says, you have Russia, which is going to be a guard onto the Persians, which you read that in the book of Ezekiel. I believe it's 37 or 38. I'm gonna have to kind of remember at this time, but it's around there. But you have, of course, there's militant groups and stuff they're talking about. That's speaking about the Iran Revolutionary Guard, which they U.S. deem them a terrorist group, but they can't prove it. So it says here also in May of 2019, the AEA certified that Iran was abiding by the main terms of the deal, right? So they were, of course, abiding. They weren't, of course, enriching uranium, okay? It's the U.S. that's the issues. All right, Babylon. Though questions were raised about how advanced the centrifuges Iran was allowed to have, as was only loosely defined in the deal. And it says here, on July 2019, Iran announced it breached the limit and the set stockpile of low enriched uranium. This would be, of course, when This is way after they pulled out U.S., which this is smart. It says shortly after Iran announced they increased their uranium enrichment beyond the agreed limit of the deal. All right, and this, of course, is ways for Iran to combat against the United States. Okay, because they're going to be, or if already, are a nuclear arm and a nuclear power. So, of course, you have it, the state of Israel, that is. They don't want Iran to become that, okay, or have their influence in the region. So, this, as you see, is stirring up a lot of issues, which this all just leads towards World War III. Okay, but the point being is that the Lord is mustered the host of the battle and getting these weaker nations ready. Okay, so this is Joel 3:9. It says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles: Prepare war, wake up the mighty men, and let all the men of war draw nigh or near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, and let the weak say, I'm strong." And of course, this is with the weaker nations becoming strong by what? And investing into their military might, powers, and such instead of agriculture. Because there is a World War III that's going to happen. It says, "Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh." It says, "Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Hawashapat, the land of the valley of decision." Alright. It says, "For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about." That will be, of course, in the Persian Gulf area in the Middle East. Okay, with the whole Levant area. Okay. So you see it being wakened, which is Iwar, which that is to rose up. Okay, to awake. That's the Hebrew word there, to rouse one up, awake, and sight. And that's the Lord that's doing that. Let's go back to this article. It says here that Iran has become a regional power to be reckoned with. So we can scrap from the reactions of its policies of the word submit or bow to the international, or bow to the international community. Moreover, since Europe is apparently no longer in position to fulfill its commitments, Iran will now be headed towards a total pull out of the following further gradual withdrawal steps. Just before U.S. elections due in November of 2020, Iran is expected to become a nuclear country with full capabilities of producing uranium enriched to more than 200% or 20% uranium-235 weapons, which is usable and therefore in a position to manufacture dozens of nuclear bombs. For uranium must be enriched to about 90%. So this is the level you need, okay, which is 90%. Which in the what I previous showed you was that they had previously agreed to only enrich uranium up to 3.67. Okay, you need to be able to have or produce nuclear bombs. You have to have uranium enriched to about 90%. However, this does not necessarily mean that this is Iran's ultimate objective. It says industry data shows how half of the effort goes into enrichment of 0.7 to 4%. If Iran reaches level of 20%, the journey towards 90% is almost done. And that's quick because the days are shortened for the elect's sake, as the scriptures say. Okay, you can look that precept up. Let's see, we'll go into it. I'll just get it because it's a precept. I don't know who's listening, so this is for the elect. We do this work. We labor for the elect, so we don't hate laborious work. The work we do is, of course, needed for the elect, whomever they are, wherever they are scattered abroad. Kindly listen and be fed. Banah, be built. Yeah, Banah. In Yahweh Shai, of course. So let's go. Yahweh Shai. So this is the book of Matthew, chapter 24. In 22 it says, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect, habachayar, okay, the elect, that's the elect in Hebrew, sake, those days shall be shortened. That's the chosen, that's what the elect are. They're the chosen, alright, the first fruits, alright, church of the firstborn, that's another title, alright, which are destined for salvation on this side. They will be having that mark of exemption from this nuclear destruction, the destroying wind, which will come due to nuclear fire, thermonuclear fire, and also due fires from the chariots, Rekabium, or chariots, which is the vehicles, celestial vehicles, which the Lord Yahweh Shai will be in, and of course the rest of the numeral Mala'akayim, which is the rest of the angels. Bring forth death and destruction here, okay, and bring forth also salvation to the elect. Yahweh Shai's name itself is He the Deliverer, okay. Alright, so let's go back to that article. This is an actual 12 article. First time I'm actually reading it, so it's always great and get these details in there. It says here that when Iran announced its reaching its level, which is considered critical by the West, there is a possibility that Israel might act militarily against Iran's capability. And the reason for this is because you have it that they don't want Iran to be a major influence in the region. Okay, Israel is threatened by Iran. The Persians are threatened by Amalekites, alright, which they're Edomites, okay, that are there dwelling in the land of Israel, the state of Israel, okay, which there are Israeli, there aren't the actual ancient biblical people of the Lord, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and the Americans are, okay, so you have it here that there, of course, is a possibility of a preemptive strike by Israel to on Iran because of this act of what they would claim as a military aggression by Iranian enriching their actual uranium. So, and then I'm gonna get another scripture too. This is I believe it's in the book of Jeremiah 50, might be 33. I gotta go check. No, Slock. Okay, so let me look at my physical scriptures. Give me a wee moment. probably 51. And let's see if it's 51. No. It's actually 49 and 20. We'll go to it. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49 and 20. It says here, therefore hear the counsels of Yahweh the Most High. He exists, that he had taken against Adawam, okay, which is Edom. As the scriptures say, prophesy against Mount Seir, okay, which that of course is the Edomites, okay. Which the Edomites are the wicked of the earth who have control of the whole earth. That family, those elite families, that is, they're Edomites, okay. The elite are Edomites. Your Rothschilds, your Rockefellers, okay, they're Edomites, okay. Even the actual head leader of the state of Israel, they're over there in the east, Ben Netanyahu, he's an Edomite. Let's go. It says here that, let's read it again. Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh that he had taken against Edom. So the Lord is against Edom. And his purposes that he had proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation a desolate with them. So you have it that the least of the flock, being Amalek, Israel, they're going to draw out the United States, okay? They're going to do something, okay, which is going to bring forth and kick off, all right, you know, what we see in biblical prophecy. We see the World War III being on the horizon, okay? And of course, when you see things like this, it talks of preemptive strikes and, you know, of course, the U.S. being an ally of Israel. You know, the U.S., of course, I mean, the state of Israel is actually threatened by Iran doing these things, and especially in such a short time. As you see, to go from 20% to 90% needed for nuclear bombs. Okay, that's, as it says, if Iran reaches level 20%, the journey towards 90% is almost done. So, you know, just going to show you how the science is. Okay. So it isn't, as it says in the scriptures, that also it says that our salvation is nearer than what we believe. Okay. Let's see if I can find the precept. Or believe. I believe it's believe. I was gonna make this a lot of precepts, but you know, just probably just gonna hit the point. That's it. All right, we'll go to Isaiah 13 chapter. Let's face it. See if I can find it. Yeah, Romans chapter 13 and 11, it says, in that knowing the time, that knows high time to awake out of sleep, which our people, it's time to, of course, get out of that estate of not knowing your power, not knowing Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, not knowing the prophecies which are written in the scriptures. It's the time to, of course, seek the Lord while he may be found. Okay? It's high time high time go back to Hora or Hura. Let me see. Let's see the pronunciation. Give me a wee moment. Hora, I was correct, Slakia. It says here that it's a certain definite time, a point, a moment. All right, so it's definitely okay. The time, a point, a moment to wake up. To be awakened, to be roused up, to know the knowledge of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, because you will be protected by having this knowledge in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time. Alright, so let's go back. I want to read some more of this information. This is a great God wall. It says here, it says that where there is a possibility that Israel might act militarily against Iran's capability, as it did in Iraq in 1981, in Syria in 2009, and the assassination of the nuclear scientist. If this happened, the Middle East will be exposed to a mega earthquake. Those outcome is unpredictable. Yeah, it's going to be a major earthquake. This is going to be a World War III, okay? But if Israel and the U.S. are not in position to react against Iran's total withdrawal from the JCPOA, the nuclear deal, Iran will no longer accept the return to the 2015 deal. That deal, I can tell you, is scrapped, okay? Its position will become, and that's, I speak as a man, all right? It says its position will become much stronger, and any deal would be difficult to reach. Sources within the decision-making circle have said Iran will become a state of full nuclear capability. It's also aiming for self-sufficiency, and it's planning to move away from counting solely on its oil exports for its annual budget. It's starting to generate and manufacture in many sectors, and it's certainly increased in its missile development and production. Missile technology has proved to be the most efficient and cheapest deterrent weapon for Iran and its allies, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and Yemen. So this is, of course, them, of course, increasing their missile development. That's been a deterrent, okay, for them and their allies. That's why these nations are getting these abilities, which that is a deterrent to Babylon. Simple as that. Where in times past, where the weak wouldn't do these things, they would just be in subjection. They just get completely obliterated. Like, of course, you had the Hiroshima Nagasaki event. It says Iran has been following a strategy of patience since the U.S. Donald Trump has unlawfully revoked the nuclear deal. Tehran allowed Europe for an entire year to think about a way to tempt Iran to stay within a nuclear deal on a basis of 4, which is France, Russia, China, UK, plus Germany, excluding the US. After a long waiting period, and Iran has taken initiative into its own hands and gradually pulling out of the deal. It seems Trump did not learn from President Obama, who signed the deal, convinced that U.S. sanctions would be ineffective. That's basically it. What I'm going to bring in that article for now. I'll probably go into it another time. It has amazing information. Those that are in the spirit of prophecy and want to be into, of course, the little details which help align everything and prove, of course, prophecy occurring. So, I'm just going to go to Isaiah chapter 13. I may go to Isaiah chapter 34 as well. And I had also a Wisdom of Solomon precept, but we'll we'll see what's up. So this is here, Isaiah chapter 13:1, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. This, of course, is being for here, which this is Babylon, America. Okay. It says, "Lift ye up upon the high mountains, Slakia. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hands, that ye may go into the gates of the nobles." So you go into the highways and hedges, the brothers. It says, "I have commanded my sanctified ones, and I have also," which is Israel, I believe, "and my mighty ones," which is, I believe, the angels, "for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as a great people. At your multitude's noise of the kingdoms of a nation gathered together, Yahweh of hosts mustered the host to the battle." You can see the Lord doing these things, okay? Mustering the host to the battle. Which, let's see that word muster, which is pequad, which means to muster to a point. Okay, the Lord is appointing this. Okay, He's laying that upon as a charge, an order, basically. Okay, it's that time for battle. Malchama, which is battle in Hebrew. Alright, let's see if it says that. Yeah, there you go. Malchama, alright, which is battle. Malchama, which is battle war. It says, "Ho ye, for the day of Yahweh is at hand, and it shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid, and pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them, and they shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames." It's going to be completely burnt up. Okay? People are going to die from radiation. People are going to die from this destruction, this destroying wind. It says, "Behold, the day of Yahweh cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. 2/3 of the nation of Israel will be destroyed in his power." Okay? So, you could go and read this. I of course suggest you do so. For the sake of time, I'm not going to. The Spirit has me going into or revisiting this in another lesson. I believe I already covered the information I wanted to bring out. And I'm going to leave with this scripture. It's going to be in the Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5, in the 5th chapter, and the Apocrypha. We'll go and get it. It's, okay, Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5. I believe it's around 21. Let's go to it. Okay, Slach. It says here, "His severe wrath shall he sharpen for a sword, and the world shall fight with him against the unwise. Then shall," this is right here, 21 Slach. It says, "Then shall the right aiming thunderbolts go abroad, and from the clouds, as from a well-drawn bow, so shall they fly to the mark, and hailstones of wrath, full of wrath, shall be cast as out of a stone bow, and the waters of the sea shall rage against them, and the flood shall cruelly drown them. Yea, a mighty wind shall stand against them, and a storm shall blow them away. Thus iniquity shall lay waste in the whole earth, and ill dealing shall overthrow the thrones of the mighty. Okay? There's going to be a nuclear destruction by the way of chariots, nuclear missiles. Okay? I mean, it's going to be amazing. So, with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to y'all by Shema Shabbat, Shem Kokodash, the blind cells, and Apostle that great millstone. Well, see the North Korea testing their different, even though this is a short range, they're testing all their missiles. Okay, and gearing up. You got Iran will be a full nuclear power by the end of 2020. Obviously, you know that you got to be careful what actually it is, because the Lord, is muttering the host to the battle. They already could be ready already. So this is just what they're publishing. Okay, with that, I want to say shalom.